Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Crypto Gorilla video. Today we're going to talk about the FOMC meeting that is going to shape our short-term futures. We're going to look at some projects that are launching today, the 19th, and we are going to look at the drama around Jirasan with some token launches. As usual, I'm not a financial advisor. It's just my opinion, which can be totally wrong. If you appreciate me making these videos consistently for the last 4 years, hit that subscribe button and let's dive right into it. Starting off with the FOMC meeting, where Jerome Powell is going to hit the stage and tell us our futures, if we're rich or poor. Now, the consensus, as you can see, which this is just an estimate, it's not 100% guaranteed. However, people are expecting 100% no rate cut. We are going to stay the same, which personally doesn't bother me. I know a lot of people want them to aggressively cut, which if we compare the Federal Reserve, which is the black line here on this chart, to pretty much every other central bank, all the other banks are aggressively cutting. They are basically in a race to zero. So I do think this is going to add pressure onto the Fed, and they're eventually going to cave and cut rates. However, like I said, no rate cut is expected today by the time you're watching this video. Now, what I'm going to be listening for is their language around what they're going to be doing with their balance sheet. Are they going to stop quantitative tightening and start to mentally prepare us for quantitative easing, which is them turning the money printers back on, which in turn reduces the power of the US dollar and props up risk on assets like Bitcoin. So if you're interested in this kind of stuff, the report is dropping at 2 p.m. Eastern, and then the meeting where Jerome goes on stage is happening at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. And unfortunately, if nothing happens tomorrow, or if it's bearish, which would really suck, we're not going to get any relief until the next meeting, which is on the 7th of May. So almost 2 months from now, which we're going to have to sit in suffering. Speaking of suffering, let's talk about the drama surrounding Jirasan and projects like iAgent and Redacted. So the TLDR here is that the Jirasan holders are scheduled to get a ton of airdrops. That's pretty much one or the main utility of this NFT, other than being part of the community, of course. And Redacted currently has equity in something like 18 projects with a target of 65 projects by Q1 of 2026. So it's safe to say that holders are scheduled to eat. And I always felt that the Jirasan NFTs are criminally undervalued compared to a lot of other NFTs on the market that have no catalyst left, or the other NFTs are just crazy overpriced, one or the other. Now, their flagship product is called Redacted, which you probably heard of last year with all the KOL campaigns they were doing, where the KOLs said they invested in it, myself included, and we all had our eyes blanked out by the yellow stripe. Or if you saw the redacted flight footage, which went viral. And you're probably thinking to yourself, wow, that was a while ago, which it was. They did their raise quite some time ago, like many projects out there, and they did not launch their token. They're trying to launch, but the excuses we're hearing from all these projects are, we're waiting for better market conditions, we're trying to lock down a tier 1 exchange, and so on. Now, Redacted promised they would launch in Q1, so they are scheduled to launch this month. It was supposed to be the first official PG Group token to launch, quickly followed by iAgent. Instead, what we got today was the launch of iAgent as the first token, which, to be fair, a lot of people were excited about. And it has to do with gaming, AI, and the founder of this project is also a co-founder of PG Group and Jirasan. So many Jirasan holders, myself included, who holds 22, were expecting a decent airdrop. However, the drama all started 3 days ago by the time you're watching this video, or 2 days before the token dropped, where they made this post saying that first off, the Jirasan holders are only getting a 0.4% of the supply on day one. Apparently there's more in the future, but it's really hard to find that information, if we're being honest. And it's not one-to-one with your holdings. If you have 1 to 9 Jirasans, you are getting 1,500 tokens. So if you bought a Jirasan for $2,000, but then somebody else bought 9 for $18,000 when Jirasans were at an ETH, if ETH was at 2K, you're getting the same amount of tokens. To make it worse, For whales, if you hold 20 Jirasans or more, you're only getting 4,000 tokens, which is not even 3x what a person who has one is getting. And you can see here, I did some math. If it was 50 mil FDV, which we're going to see, it's not even there. That was $9 per Jirasan. So extremely disappointing. But the Jirasan team and the iAgent team heard the feedback. They went back to the drawing board and they decided to make it 0.75% of the supply on day one, which I still find is extremely low, but whatever. And they made it 1-to-1 with your holdings. So 750 tokens per Jirasan, which is better than before. However, the token launch did not go well. As you can see, like most tokens at the beginning, it was down only. It is slightly recovering here, but still, if you look at the FDV, it's 33 million, which I believe, sorry if I'm wrong about this, I believe it's less than they raised at. I think they raised at 35 mil. So investors are down. I also heard that node purchasers are down. It's worse on Mexi, which there seems to be a lot of drama around. You can see the pump and dump that happened on Mexi, and a lot of people are saying, hey, who was selling here because nobody got their tokens? And there is this post from Jamie saying they're investigating this. There seems to be some shenanigans going on with Mexi. But either way, even if we take the higher price here on the DEX as opposed to Mexi, which is at 2 cents, if I take this 3-cent price, my airdrop per Jirasan is less than $25. So very disappointing. We also have Jamie here saying that airdrop farmers received $10 to $20 at these prices. So it's not them selling, but that's not bullish. Like, imagine you farm the airdrop for a while and you're only getting $10. I don't know, that sucks. But the reason why this worries me is this happened right before Redacted. So you're going into a Redacted launch and it's not bullish. People are already upset with the first airdrop. Now, Redacted is currently doing a public raise through CoinList at 70 mil FDV. And like I said, it's set to launch this month. So anytime within less than the next 2 weeks. But what I don't like, outside of the iAgent launch not being good or the airdrop not being good for Jirasan holders, is they're going into this launch with a lot of public battles happening. And it's getting to the point where people are publicly asking for refunds, which is not a good look at all for the project. You want your KOLs to be bullish. You want to see buy pressure and for people to be FOMOing, but instead we're getting people publicly asking for refunds. And if we look at the Jirasan NFTs, which are getting 10% of the supply, 25% unlocked on day one, they have been on a downtrend for the last 3 months, which is not a good look. It's not showing demand for the tokens that are being airdropped to your holders. Now, I'm not going to leak any DMs or group chats, but I do feel comfortable saying that comms have been non-existent, both publicly by the team, which is the #1 criticism that I'm hearing. Also, my #1 criticism in my previous videos, which I don't think they did a good job with comms for iAgent. However, also in these chats that I'm part of, I'm in some groups where KOLs who invested a long time ago, they were used in all of the marketing for Redacted, and they're asking just normal questions like, when's the project launching? Can we get an update? And they're not getting any answers. And now they've started asking in the group in front of everyone else for refunds, and they're still getting 0 answers. It's radio silence. So it's no surprise that people are going to go public. Here we have Razang replying to Shan. He did a long post here talking about what they're trying to build and people fudding and all that. And then she respectfully said, like, I think offering refunds for pre-sale participants isn't a bad thing. I think you should be doing it, especially when they recently changed the terms. That's one of the reasons why you're seeing a lot of these KOLs on the timeline act out, because they invested over a year ago now, and last minute, just a week ago or two, the Redacted team came in and said, hey, instead of no cliff, you are now getting a 3-month cliff, and they give them a little bit extra of an unlock, but still, when you do the math, you are getting less tokens within the first 3 months, because that cliff really does hurt you, especially when you consider most people who invested were expecting this project to launch last summer, but instead so much time has gone on, and now a majority of your unlocks are going to be happening in the bear market if you still follow the 4-year cycle. Now, the other thing you have to consider here is they're doing, like I said, a public raise, and the terms that the public raise are getting are so much better than the terms that investors got. If you look here, 70 mil FDV, 33% unlock, a 1-month cliff, and then 2 months of vesting compared to early investors who now they've been lowered to 50 mil FDV with 15% on day one, which is less than the 33%, a 3-month cliff, less than the 1-month cliff, and 18 months of unlocks. But when you consider their previous terms, they were still only 10% day one and 18 months of linear vesting. So this really does not seem fair to investors who got that round. Personally, I got in at a lower round, but there's still other people who got in lower than me. So it really does seem like investors are getting the short end of the stick here. And I really didn't like Shan's response here. And look, I'm not fudding, okay? I'm showing you all this stuff. It's public. And I've been one of the, I'd say, people who have supported this project a lot. Now I have a little less. I have 17 Jirasans. I've done free interviews with them. I never asked them for anything. I even suggested it, put it on my Twitter, on my YouTube. I took the time to do it. So you can't say I'm not supporting this project, right? I'm still a holder. I'm talking against my bags, okay? So please don't come at me. But I don't like a few things he's saying here, and I get he's under pressure, okay? I have no envy for founders. I do not want to be a founder and have to deal with all these people. But here he's saying most put in like 5K or so. Dude, even if I put in $500 in a project, like I still want my money's worth. I do not like losing money. And then it's easy to refund, but I'm not going to bend the knee to these KOLs. He should not have said this. Like, dude, these KOLs have been supporting you for a long time. They were very patient. You used all of them for your marketing to hype up the project. Now that people are turning on you because comms are non-existent and all this stuff happening, I just don't think that's a good look. And I also didn't like this. Like, just realize how many are disguised as investors. Dude, investors are here to make money. I'm not here to invest in something. Other people get a better entry than me, or I have to wait 4 years to potentially make my money back where I could have just bought on the secondary market because it's going to be worth less than I invested in. Like, I don't know. I feel too many projects or founders have this attitude and it's completely backwards. Like, this stuff would not happen or what am I saying? There's also a bunch of stuff like this in Web 2, but I don't know. It's very backwards. And I don't like what I'm seeing, but I also don't like this because it's all happening in public. And, you know, we're supposed to be bullish about this stuff, but instead, like, we're all airing our dirty laundry, and it really sucks for the token because it's taking away all the light. Like, even iAgent, nobody cares what iAgent does. People are just trolling the token price, where I actually believe in the product that they're building. So I think most of these investment rounds, at least with KOLs, are just completely done. The ones at high FDVs, I'm still doing to this day rounds that are low FDVs, and it's like a degen team building a game or doing a meme coin or whatever it is, and they're just honest about what they're doing. Like, hey, we're launching in 3 weeks. It might work, it might not, but here's fair terms. If you want to be part of it, let us know. But here we have the Fame token for Rumble Kong, which is currently at a 4 mil FDV. These guys raised, I think, at 35 mil. So down bad if you put money into this. We also have a ton of people waiting for things like Play Somo. I have no idea what these guys are going to do. They're in a very tough spot here. Their public raise was at, I think, 110 mil FDV. There's no way this thing ain't launching at a bill, like, unless they pull a miracle. They're just in a tight spot, and I'm sure investors are asking for refunds. I'm sure they're like attacking them, calling them scammers, and you know, it must not be pleasant. And I don't envy any of these teams. I'd be happy if I raised like 50 mil though. Okay, that's the upside. You get to go buy yourself a nice Lambo and chill with the money for a while until you say, hey, we ran out of money. Sorry. But where does this leave us with Jirasan? Okay, enough with the drama. What about the NFT holders, which, like I said, I still hold 17. I rage sold 5 the other day when I saw this tiered stuff about iAgent, which I honestly regret doing. I could buy back cheaper now, so it's actually a win. I'm a super cool trader, but call me crazy, okay? I don't think this is the worst hold here. And that's considering that Redacted just did a raise at 70 mil FDV. Look, I don't know how the raise went. Maybe they raised no money and nobody cares about the project, but let's pretend the raise was successful. They hit their targets and they do one of those low circulating supply, low float, high FDV type of launches. I don't know if it launches at 100 mil FDV, which let's assume it won't, right? Let's assume it's going to pull in iAgent and it's going to be down bad. Investors are going to be underwater, including me. I invested. But let's pretend it's at 100 mil. That's $1,000 per Jirasan, right? With 25% unlocked on day one. That's $250 unlocked on day one. The floor is currently $690. that's not the worst bet, especially when you consider there's going to be like 20 airdrops in the future. And then on top of that, partnered projects. Yes, some of those airdrops are just going to be $20 like we just saw with iAgent, but that stuff adds up. And then you have Redacted, which you're going to have to stake. So you're not able to sell it if you want bigger airdrops. But am I crazy? Please, somebody in the comments, tell me if I'm crazy. I'm still holding 17 here, and I feel they're down with the price of ETH being down so bad. Like, I don't know. I find it's not the worst bet, right? If Redacted drops at 20 mil, yeah, these are cooked. They're going to zero, or not zero. They're going very low. But outside of that, I'm still holding. So outside of that, what do we have going on today on the 19th? We have OpenSea announcing their next shipment is going to be for minters of the Charts NFT by JVMI. I guess that's how you pronounce it. There's two ways to get whitelist. One way, you need to hold his previous collection called Swatches, which were trending for a while. As you can see, they went from very cheap. I believe they were trading for 0.02 all the way to 0.1. Now they've balanced out. I don't think they've announced at the time of me filming. By the time you watch this, they probably will have announced a snapshot. But if you're holding one of these, you get a free claim, or if you won their public whitelist raffle. Now, like I said, there's going to be a shipment with each mint, and in these shipments, you get OpenSea XP. I think that's the reason there was a ton of hype around this mint. No offense to the artist. I'm sure he has a lot of fans of his work. And if we go to the shipment page on OpenSea, you could see, other than the minting one, there's 3 additional shipments that are going to be happening in the near future. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on this and trying to get myself some XP through the shipments, as it's currently the only way you can get XP. And I only have 6,600 for this season. So I need to step up my game. I have currently 3 of 7 of these shipments, so I need to get a lot more. Outside of that, we have gold vaults going live shortly after this video if you're watching it on launch. This is for the DeFi Dungeons game. I believe they're going to raise, the maximum is $3 million. I'll probably put in a bit of money into this, and then the NFT mint and the game should be going live shortly after they do this raise. And finally, today we have the Taproot Wizard mint, which I've been critical of. Like I said, I think it's going to mint out, and I think it's going to be profitable. I think these are going to do well. However, I still don't agree that they're raising 35 mil. It's going to hurt the market more than benefit it. Maybe not in the short term, but in the long term. But people just accept it because Udi. That's literally the only thing people tell me when I ask them why, or they just say random words like culture, or tell me I don't get it, and then they can't explain it to me themselves. So that usually means they don't get it either. They're just following the crowd, and those people typically get wrecked. So that is all for today's video. Short and sweet. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, would you kindly hit that subscribe button, smash that bell notification. Thank you for watching another Crypto Gorilla video. Peace.